There's a city whose very name is synonymous with magic, hysteria, and restless souls. That city is Salem, Massachusetts. And in the very heart of Salem, a symbol of elegance stands tall, the Hawthorne Hotel. This is a place that has hosted presidents, movie stars, and even the famous cast of the show Bewitched. But behind that glamorous facade, it's known by a much more chilling title, one of the most haunted hotels in America. Today, we aren't just telling the story of a spirit, we're talking about a crossroads, a place where it seems countless tragedies of Salem have all converged. A condemned victim, long-lost sea captains, and the sound of a child crying in the night. Before we check in together, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because on this journey we're definitely going to need each other. The Hawthorne Hotel opened on July 21st, 1925. This wasn't the mansion of a single family, it was the pride of an entire community. Over 1,000 local residents and businessmen invested money to build it, and they named it after Salem's most famous son, the author Nathaniel Hawthorne. That name, it seems, was destiny for this place. This 6-story, 150-room building quickly became the town's centerpiece. But there was a strange condition in its construction contract. The land originally belonged to the Salem Marine Society, an old organization of sea captains. They agreed to sell on one condition: they must be allowed to maintain their presence at the hotel permanently. And the hotel kept its promise. To this day, on the roof of the Hawthorne, there is an exact replica of a merchant ship's cabin. It's where the Salem Marine Society still meets. Perhaps from the very beginning, this hotel was destined to be a place for permanent guests. The darkest and oldest legend tied to the hotel is the story of Bridget Bishop, the first victim executed during the Salem witch trials of 1692. The story goes that the Hawthorne was built directly on her old apple orchard. For decades, this was the primary explanation for one of the strangest phenomena: the phantom scent of ripe apples wafting through the hallways. A perfect detail. Except for one problem, historians have proven that Bridget Bishop's orchard was actually in a different part of the city. So, if it's not Bridget Bishop, who is wandering the hotel, and why? Do people still smell apples? The mystery at the Hawthorne is haunted by multiple layers of spirits. The first layer perhaps belongs to the original owners of the land, the sea captains. Down in the hotel's restaurant, the tavern, a large ship's wheel hangs on the wall. Staff have grown accustomed to seeing it spin back and forth on its own, as if an unseen hand is steering the ship through a phantom storm. And up on the roof in the private meeting cabin, cleaning crews often find that after locking up, they return in the morning to find ancient maps and charts scattered all over the room despite the door being locked. As if their meeting never ended. But those are just the relatively harmless sea captains. To find the real fear, we have to go upstairs. Staff and guests all agree there is something deeply wrong with the 3rd and 6th floors. One employee swore he would never work a night shift again. He had just finished cleaning a room, everything perfect. He stepped out for just a few minutes. When he returned, the entire room had been turned upside down. The bed was moved. The chairs were overturned, as if a silent, invisible rage had torn through it. And then we come to the 6th floor, specifically room 612. This is the territory of the woman in white. Countless guests have seen her. Sometimes just a white figure standing motionless at the end of the hall, staring. Other times she wanders, then vanishes. Those brave enough to stay in room 612 often feel they are not alone. They report the touch of an icy hand, or worse, the sensation of someone pulling their hair. One guest was jolted awake by a terrifyingly loud bang. as if someone had slammed their full body weight against the inside of the door. But when they checked, the door was still locked. The hallway was empty. Many people rushed to say this is Bridget Bishop, but as we know, history doesn't support that. So if it's not her, who is it? An unlucky guest who passed away in the hotel, or just a spirit drawn to Salem's energies? To me, this mystery is even scarier. An unnamed soul with an unexplained rage. The 6th floor is fear, but the 3rd floor is a nightmare. Welcome to room 325. This is widely considered the most haunted room in the entire hotel, and the spirit here is a child. Guests in room 325 consistently report experiences that are chilling to the bone. One couple who knew nothing of the rumors called the front desk in the middle of the night. They complained that their young daughter kept talking about hearing another child crying. The problem was, they didn't have a daughter. Others are woken up by the feeling of their bed sheets being violently ripped off them. Faucets turn on by themselves. Lights go out. And always, that feeling of being constantly watched. There is nothing more frightening than the spirit of a child. It bypasses all logic. It brings profound sadness, but also a primal fear. The sound of a child crying in the night is programmed into us to make us react. But when you turn on the light, and there's nothing there, your brain doesn't know how to process it. You realize you're locked in a room with an invisible tragedy. And the other floors aren't quiet either. On the 5th floor, guests have been poked by an invisible finger, or felt a phantom cat walk across their legs and curl up at their feet. Of course, when they look down, there is nothing there. The hotel's fame isn't just rumor. In 1970, the cast of the hit show Bewitched stayed here while filming an episode in Salem. They even filmed a famous scene in the hotel's elevator. The irony, a town that once tried to eliminate witches was now welcoming a TV show about one. Its paranormal reputation grew so large that in 1990 the hotel hosted an official seance on Halloween. They weren't trying to contact Bridget Bishop. They were trying to contact the great magician, Harry Houdini, on the 64th anniversary of his passing. While Houdini didn't appear, the event only made the whispers about the other spirits in the hotel grow louder. So what is really happening at the Hawthorne Hotel? We have a place built by the community named for a Gothic novelist on land that belonged to sea captains who are still meeting upstairs and steering the wheel in the tavern. We have the legend of a witch, and though history disagrees, the phantom smell of apples remains. We have a mysterious woman on the 6th floor pulling guests' hair. And we have the tragedy of an unnamed child crying in room 325. The Hawthorne Hotel isn't haunted by one spirit. It's like a spiritual train station, a crossroads for souls. Each one has its own story, its own anger, its own sadness, and all of them are trapped inside these magnificent brick walls. The hotel is still open. You can still book a room. You can even request room 325 or 612, but be careful if you do. When you lie down in that bed and turn out the lights, listen. Do you hear that faint sobbing? Or is it just the wind whistling through old Salem? Did you feel someone pull your blanket, or was it just you turning over in your sleep? And if you smell apples, don't bother looking for the source. Just know you are not alone. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the Hawthorne Hotel. What do you think? Who is the woman on the 6th floor, and what tragedy happened to the child in room 325? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'll see you in the next case file.